going, baby? How you living? How you living?
I really like to take this challenge for myself, aside of just being a musician.
She had a swishy jacket and some thing on her head.
Even it's really big for you.
Yeah, it's like the size of me.
Don't worry, I won't say anything stupid. Yes, I hope. It's just like a crazy metal band, like shooting everything up.
My advice is forget the movies and look for a good job.
My daughter is going to sleep, so I needed to say goodnight to her.
I don't want terrible things to always be happening to me and my children.
I think I was more nervous when the movie was premiering and coming out, because then I realized that people actually had to see it.
Nice to escape the studio. We have the beautiful, sunny, not sunny English countryside behind us.
This country and this world can do a whole lot better.
Wow, what a presentation.
Right, like I want people to know that you didn't just show up now.
That's where the idea of the pancake came from.
But you're the only person ever who's ever asked me that question, ever.
With the Alice virtual tour last year on Twitch, so I will always keep a presence on that platform. And if you want to know other details, you can follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. That's where I post everything first. And then some of that information migrates over to other social media platforms. But my main tool, if you will, is over on Instagram. So always enjoy meeting people over there. Okay, my guest today is a very talented rock band from Slovenia. Their new album is called From Sin to Sinners. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio, rock from XSKULL8.
What's up, man?
Not much, Rock. How are you?
Working the whole day, just setting in, having my big cup of tea for the evening, and that's basically it.
Well, that sounds like a nice day. You're working, like you mentioned to me, and helping out with a family member, and just kind of relaxing. What time is it over there? Like 9, 10?
Yeah, it's 9 p.m.
Okay, all right, not bad, not bad. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I really appreciate you coming on to talk about the band and everything you've been up to. So
thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, let's kind of get into it. So with this new album, From Sin to Sinners, you're kind of telling me about this pre-show, but for everybody out there, when did you start writing and recording this?
Well, writing in 2019, I think. We began the whole thing and talking with our producer, Matej Pechaver, about it. The recording happened during the Corona lockdown, the first lockdown in 2020, June 2020, I think it was. And basically the whole album was finished in October, November of 2020, but we postponed the release of the album because we were actually hoping that till June this year everything will be back to normal so we can do a proper release party, but guess not. But it was, even though we didn't have the proper release party, I'm glad we waited, because we got in contact with Curtain Call Records, and they took us under their own name, and they immediately had a new album to release. So that was a good decision.
Okay, yeah, sometimes things work out that way when you weren't necessarily planning it, but it worked out for the best then.
Yeah.
Okay, and as you were mentioning that you started writing these songs a couple of years ago, what's the typical songwriting process like for you guys?
Well, usually most of the songs are first instrumentals that Johnny does. It's, I don't know, it's just that one riff that lights the spark in me, and then I just start writing, and the inspiration just comes to me, and basically the lyrics for that song are done in 5 minutes then. But the new approach we're doing right now for the new album that's coming hopefully in 2023, it's different. I'm doing the lyrics, and then Johnny tries to put those lyrics in music. So we're trying some different stuff now.
Okay, switching it up. I like it.
Yeah.
been a guitar player for most of my life, so that's why I'm always interested about the songwriting process, because it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
How they come up with their tunes. With this album, was there any particular song, like you mentioned, that just as soon as you heard the riff, I mean, it just flowed right out of you, or was it like the majority of the songs were like that?
It was actually the one that you played in the intro, "Leaves Are Falling." That was the working title for the song that Johnny wrote, and I was just like, when I heard that melody, I was just, dude, when the leaves are falling, that's the phrase. We're gonna do that, man. And the lyrics and the song just came together. So that was the easy song. That was the easy song.
Okay, well, that begs the question: was there a hard song on the record to come together to work on?
The hardest song, probably the last song we did, "A Minute for Tomorrow." Took most time to make it whole, but and it was the last song that was done for the album, but it's also one of the best songs on the album. I mean, the songs that we like the most.
Okay. And I've asked this of some other musical guests as well. When you put out the album, or I shouldn't say put it out, but when you're getting it together with the track listing, were you specific about what you wanted the album to start with and what you wanted it to end with, like what you just mentioned with that particular song? Did you know like where you wanted things to flow?
We're trying to make our album sound like our live shows, you know. So you start hard and you finish hard, and everything else happens in between. So it's got to be like a roller coaster, emotional roller coaster.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I always like it when guests have intention behind what they're doing with their track listing on their records, because I've actually had a few that they didn't really think about it. I'm kind of like, really? You didn't think about like how? I mean, it's like
it's your album.
Yeah, and you just gave a good example of like if you had a live set, don't you figure out like, you know, as a band, like what we should start with and what's in the middle? Yeah, the ebb and flow of it. You just can't you can't come out there and go gangbusters for 3 songs and then just, you know, go wherever for, you know, kind of on a soft note or something. Were there any since you guys were writing this back in 2019, and like you said, you're already working on songs for your eventual future release album?
Yeah.
Were there other songs that didn't make it onto this record?
Couple of them. It's just like we try not to push it too far. If it's not the right time for that song, if it's not happening right, we're not gonna release it. And some of those songs and some of those riffs are coming together for the next album, because just new inspirations, you know, fresh mind and everything, and gets better. Some songs just need their time.
Yeah, no, absolutely true. There's definitely things when you might have a really cool riff, but it maybe doesn't even, you're not having the right inspiration, like you said.
Yeah,
or sometimes it
so
doesn't fit.
we're trying not to push it.
Yeah, that's good, because sometimes you can have something where it's just not maybe even doesn't fit where you're at in the headspace right then for those particular group of songs. So, but we'll wait for the next time and see where if it fits for the future ones. And you know, like you're saying, some of them will, and sometimes they don't. Actually, we have these songs that pull out from 20 years ago or some riff. And you're like, it's finally ready. I think it feels good for it, and they work.
Yeah.
I've got tapes from when I was in 8th grade. Still.
I try not to listen to those. I have some, but I mean, sometimes I play those so I can see and I can hear that I got better. You know, when you're like, oh shit, I'm not good enough, and then you just play that and you're like, oh dude, yeah, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. That's me. Oh fuck no.
I totally understand, because I used to teach guitar lessons for a little while to groups, and so I would play this tape of myself playing guitar from like 1985. I wouldn't tell them that it was me. I would just play it, and they'd smirk and laugh and giggle and stuff because it sounds terrible. And then I finally say, "So who do you think that was?" I'm like, "I don't know, but they suck." And they'd be like, "Well, that was actually me when I was first learning how to play guitar." I'm like, "What? That was you, Mr. S?" That kind of thing. And you're right. Sometimes you kind of think you feel a little discouraged. Just go listen to those things.
Yeah.
No, I've improved a lot.
Yeah. That's the whole point.
Yeah, keep improving, keep growing, keep working hard at it, and you will get better at things, whatever you try in life. And you mentioned Leaves Are Falling, which is the short video clip that I played, an excerpt from it. Did you guys get a chance, or well, one, when did you shoot that video? And then was everybody in the same space when you were shooting it as a band, or did you have to do it in separate rooms kind of a thing? How does it come together?
No, it was a window of opportunity between two lockdowns that we used for shooting that video, and we did it really fast. It was basically, if you would put it in hours, it was in one day. 2 sets, whole scene, everything. It was in one day. It took basically 2 afternoons. So it was really fast.
Okay, yeah, and sounds like you're trying to maximize your time then when you had that window.
I was actually in the organization of the whole shooting, and I was just like watching the time, you know. Did you do it? It's finished. Okay, next set. Just move. Just go, move. So yeah, it was really like on a racetrack, pit stops.
Well, that's good that you're taking charge of it. That means you probably had some pre-production. That's my guess. You knew exactly what you need to get done once you got in there. It's just bang it out and get out.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, well, I'm also curious about. So when did you personally first get involved with music? So like, were you playing an instrument? Were you always singing around the house? What kind of things started with you musically?
I have some old photos of me. I mean, my mom has them. When I was a little kid, walking around with those kids' plastic instruments, you know. So actually, I think it was my mom providing me with all of those instruments that got me hooked on music. And then I was singing in the apartment where we lived in one room. I was loud. Sorry, neighbors. I know I was loud. But I'd say that the real start of my music career was actually when we started making our own songs. I think it was 2010 or 11. Not sure, something there. With my previous metal band, when we started to make our own music, and I think that was the start of the career, because there are a lot of cover bands that just play covers. But as a musician, that's my opinion. If you're a musician, try to make your own music. You have feelings, you have the skills. Just go try it. You know, just tell people what you think through your music. So I think it was that moment that was the start.
Okay, and like as you mentioned that you started when you started doing original music with your metal band, what kind of, I guess, particularly for people that are new, but folks here in the U.S., from that metal band, how did we into XSKULL8? So I know there's other bands in between there, and that sounds like there was a name change at some point too.
Yeah. Well, first we were called XSKULL8 was first called Captain Morgan's Revenge, but we had to change our name. If you don't know why, Google it. Captain Morgan's Revenge. See what you find. All makes sense. So we had to change that name. But the Captain Morgan's Revenge actually started because there was one band. There was one guy from one band that told me, "Hey, rock and roll is dead. We have to play something else because rock and roll will never come back." And I was like, "Oh, fuck no." And I just did first song, "Don't Let the Rock and Roll Die," by myself. And I just called guys, the guitarist from my metal band, and actually our roadie, previous roadie that played drums. I was like, "Guys, do you want to record this? I have a garage. I have a couple of microphones. Let's just do a garage sounding rock and roll song." And they were like, "Yeah, sure. Start a barbecue and grab a couple of beers," and we're there. And we did that song, and just for fun, I sent it to a couple of local radio stations, and they liked it. They played it, and they liked it. People liked it, and everyone was saying, "What's that band?" And there was no band. There was just that song. We didn't even had the name. We were not known by Captain Morgan's Revenge back then. We were just like guys from our town. I don't know. But yeah, people liked it, and we tried another song, got great reviews, and then we were just like, okay, now we need a bass player and the first live show, and we did it. And so that was actually it, because someone told me rock and roll is dead. We did Captain Morgan's Revenge, and now we're XSKULL8 to prove them wrong.
Well, that's an awesome story. That's very, very rock and roll. You know, someone said something to you that you said, no, fuck no.
No, fuck no.
I'm going to show you that you're wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, here you are in 2021 with this tremendous album and talking to me and getting the word out about your band around the world and everything else. That's completely rock and roll.
Right?
Yeah, and to me, it's always been, you hear about that kind of, rock and roll's dead, or metal's dead, or that kind of thing, and it's like it never goes away.
Nope.
It's always there, and sometimes I might be riding a higher wave than other years, but it never disappears, and it will never just completely go away ever. There's too many people that like it, and then there's new generations that like it, and it has new influences every time, depending on what the people are into, and depending on their age, and all that kind of thing. So yeah. I mean, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, so that's my foundation for things. But I love stuff that's coming out nowadays. Well, obviously, because I'm here talking with you. So.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Unless you try to diss me, man.
No, the stuff's really good, and I'm my own boss, so I get to decide who I interview and who I don't. Yeah, if you're here, it's all good. That means I'm a fan in some capacity.
All right.
And I wanted to bring up too, as we were talking about things pre-show, that you have a really cool YouTube channel yourself. Obviously, the band has one as well, but you have one yourself. Rock with Rock. Okay. For people out there that aren't familiar with it, can you kind of explain what you've been doing recently with your channel?
Well, recently is standing still because we're doing new music. But during the second lockdown, the album was already recorded and everything, and we had nothing to do with music because we couldn't have rehearsals altogether because we actually got locked down into areas, and me and Johnny live in the same area, so we could actually hook up. And we were just trying new stuff and making covers, just reviving my old YouTube channel and trying to, I don't know, make a brand or something and just trying it. And it was awesome because we learned a lot of new stuff on a lot of new techniques on vocals. I actually started screaming back again. And Johnny is one of those progressive guitarist, so those easy covers were a big thing for him to hear and see music from other perspectives, to try different stuff, how to make still progressive riffs sound easy and pleasant to normal people, normal fans. So I think we did great with that, and we got some great feedback. The reach is not that great, thanks YouTube, but feedbacks are awesome. So yeah,
and for people out there that haven't had a chance to check it out, please do so after this live stream, because I was looking through it yesterday and I was telling Rock that one thing that I really like is there's a lot of variety on it. You're not just covering certain styles of music. There's a lot of different things.
Yeah, metal, rock, pop, rap, everything.
Yeah, which brings me to my topic that we brought up pre-show, that you have a really cool metal cover of from House of Pain. And I'm assuming that you were a fan of them back in the 90s, and that's why you decided to cover it?
Not really. It's just one of those iconic songs that when you hear it, you know the song, even though you're not a fan. You've listened, you heard it like twice or 3 times, but when you hear it, you know it. And that was the reason to do that song.
Okay, yeah, and you're right that there's certain songs that if you hear like the opening of something, you're like, oh, I know what that song is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Genesis, Phil Collins, when the first riff starts or the first bits of, it's just there.
Yeah, and was there any plan to maybe do it? I don't want to say the way it was originally done, but not doing it into a metal cover, but doing maybe just keeping it more like rock or something.
We were doing the first couple of, I mean, some of those covers are done like in original, but in our own way still, because we're not the same band, so we're not trying to mimic that band, but it was done, I don't know, an acoustic soft version, like country version of Zach Brown Band. I think it's on there, and it's not in metal, it's acoustic version, and I don't know, couple of those. But later on we were like, let's try to make pop better, let's try to make pop metal. And we just start doing that.
Cool. Well, it works out really, really well, like I mentioned to you pre-show. And again, for all the fans out there that are watching this, if you're not familiar with Rock's channel, definitely check that out. Obviously, check out XSKULL8's channel as well on YouTube. Both of them, hit a subscribe button on there. And Rock, I have a curious kind of mind. You come across really, really well, and obviously you have, it sounds like, the technology there in your home, your studio. Have you been doing your own podcast or thought about doing something else just as a host?
Yeah, I'm doing. I have the whole setup, 2 PC streaming setup here. I got 3 screens, monitors, Genelecs, everything, the light, the microphone, the background, everything, and I was gaming. I was actually doing gaming streams for a couple of months, but then summer came, got a lot of work outside. The band came back together, started to work on new songs and everything. So there's just not enough time to do everything, and the priority is still, my priority is still in my music and my band and my family and my dog, and not as much in streaming and gaming. So that's why I just do it now, probably once or twice a week. But yeah, I did that. That's why the whole setup.
No, it makes perfect sense because you've got a very professional setup, and as I'm hearing you talk, I'm just thinking, wow, you would be a really great podcaster, having your own guests on and other musicians or whoever you wanted to talk to. But the gaming part makes sense since I'm on Twitch, which is a gaming platform for streamers and all that kind of thing. So
yeah,
and for a lot of people, when they hear that XSKULL8 is from Slovenia, especially here in the U.S., they've heard of the country, but they don't really have any idea of like what the country's like. How would you describe Slovenia to people that are, don't really have a clue of like what the country's about?
Slovenia is shaped like a chicken. That's the first thing you need to know. For maps, it's shaped like a chicken, and actually, we're not talking about government. We're just talking about the country. It's beautiful country. We got probably 70% of forests. I just like nature, and it's just, I just step outside my house and there's a garden, there's I have the whole training stuff for my dog there, and 10 meters from there I got outdoors, I got woods, and it's very green country, and I like that. And most of people here are friendly, especially outside the cities, the big cities, because there are just too many people and just everything messes up. But outside on the countryside or something like that, most of the people are very, very friendly, even to outsiders. And I don't know, it's great. We got seaside, we got mountains, everything basically. We're a small pack of everything.
Well, that's it sounds really nice. It sounds like the more rural aspects of Western Washington here, where you've got trees, you've got mountains, you've got the water. I mean, I'm 10 minutes away from Pacific Ocean here. And it's nice. Unfortunately, if you go like into Seattle proper, then that's when it's just nuts and chaos and everything else. That's why I don't live.
That's why I moved outside of the city.
Exactly. Same here. So I don't want to live down there. I'll go visit it when I need to see a show, but I'm not gonna live there.
Yeah.
Which also kind of brings up, what's the music scene like then in Slovenia?
Oh, not us. Not us. It's more popish, and that UK sounding mainstream right now. It's something between rock and disco, and I don't know. It's more of that, and of course our ethno music, accordions and stuff. That's on the every corner of this beautiful country, but not as pleasing for metal and rock like we're doing it. Still, you have a lot of rock and metal fans here, but media and promoters just don't. There's not as much money in the rock and metal scene, as it is for the mainstream. But we have one of the biggest metal festivals in Europe here, Metal Days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got that. We hit that in 2019, and it was awesome.
Wow, that's. See, you would. I mean, that sounds good that you guys, not good, but it sounds great that you guys have a festival like that here or there. We don't have things like that here in Seattle. I mean, not to that extent where it's something of a particular genre. Like, we don't have a big metal festival. We might have like a weekend of like different types of music that are playing locally or whatever. But I mean, the last time I can think of anything that was here was probably like the Monsters of Rock tour, which was way back in the '80s when Van Halen and the Scorpions and those kind of bands. But I always see those videos and things of other places in Europe having the huge ass festivals with 3 or 4 days of nothing but of different types of metal. I got to get over there at some point.
Yeah, we have that. We have that. It's I think the whole week of just metal, and but it's crazy. On the stages, from the stages you hear metal, and growling and everything, and then you go to the camp and you hear like country, pop, hip hop, everything. So metalheads are not so, just into metal. But it's awesome. You have 1 week of Metal Days, and then you have, I think, a few days on the same stages, same location. A few days of reggae festival and something else. It's like 3 festivals. It was 3 festivals in the row, the same location, the same crew.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, I like all kinds of different styles of music. So yeah, if you get your metal fill for a week, and then you get your reggae fill for a week, and then whatever else. Yeah. Oh man, we need that over here in the US. Well, to kind of wrap this up, Rock, you were mentioning that you're working on some new songs for the eventual, if it's 2023 or whenever the next album is. But what's going to be going on with the album that you have now? Is there another video coming out? Or are you just kind of playing it by ear in terms of like, are you going to be able to do a show like at the 2022, or is it too early to tell what's going on?
It's actually too early to tell. We've been talking to our guys if we would make another video for this album. I think is for the song Light It Up. Talking with my tattoo artist if he would be willing to do a comic book video. And the video, if it's gonna be done, it's gonna be set in 70s the States, and the FBI is chasing four guys that robbed the bank, and they get him eventually. They get them all, but I have the whole scene, the whole scenario in my mind. But we're gonna see about that if everything starts moving. But otherwise, I don't know. just basically trusting the guys from Curtain Call to build up a fan base in the States. So when all of that COVID shit it's done, when they get enough money to pull the plug, we're hitting the stages in the States. That's the main goal. Getting there, showing ourselves on the stage, doing live shows.
Nice. And like I told you pre-show, that your style of music is really, really popular over here. So we got to get you guys over here. Yeah, and get you on the right bill, because that will people like, no, I guarantee you that they're going to think that you're from the U.S. when they hear you play. They're going to think, what state are you from? What city are you from? LA? You from New York? You know, and they're like, no, we're from Slovenia. And they'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we got guys in Slovenia that are like listening to our album for the first time, and they're like, where are those guys from? Those guys from Slovenia. No. Yeah, well, yeah. They live like 15 minutes from you, man. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, well, hopefully, yeah, we get to the point where things, get to where you can get over here and play shows on your terms, the way you want to. Yeah. And until then, again, everybody that's watching this, go check out their music. It's really, really good stuff. And subscribe to XSKULL8. It's XSKULL8. So it's not like ESCALAT. It sounds like that, but just make sure you get that right. And then Rock with Rock, ROKK, his YouTube channel as well. And Rock, thank you so much for taking the time. And I always say this to every guest, but I mean it. I would love to come back and do a follow-up with you and kind of see where things are at, perhaps like in the fall, and kind of see, we'll do a part 2 and update everybody.
Yeah, sure, man. I'm down for that.
Sounds good. Well, have a good night over there. Thank you so much for taking the time, and stay safe.
Thanks for having me, and keep on rocking.
Thank you.